Hey everyone! Welcome back to the English Leap podcast, your go-to English podcast for learning English and improving your life. I'm Erin, and as always, I'm joined by my fantastic co-host, Evan. Evan, how are you doing today?
Hey, Aaron. I'm doing great. Feeling energized and ready for today's topic. How about you?
I'm doing well too. You know, I had this moment yesterday where I just sat down and thought, why does it feel like some people completely turn their lives around while others stay stuck in the same place?
Oh, I've had that thought too. You see someone go from struggling to successful, and you wonder, what's their secret? Are they just lucky, or is there something they're doing differently?
Exactly. And then I started thinking about when I was learning English. At first, it felt impossible. So many words, so many rules. But then, little by little, things started making sense.
That's so true. When I first started learning, I kept thinking, if I just knew more words, I'd be fluent. But it wasn't just about vocabulary. It was about building habits, changing my mindset, and actually using what I learned.
And that's when it hit me. Life is the same way. Big transformations don't happen overnight. It's not about one huge decision. It's about the little changes we make every day. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. How to change your life.
And before we jump in, we have something special for you. We've created a free PDF packed with practical exercises to help you take real steps to change your life. It includes key takeaways from today's discussion, comprehension questions to test your understanding, and grammar exercises to build confidence in your English skills.
And that's not all. We're also introducing some intermediate level words and phrases in today's episode.
That's right. And we'll take a closer look at them later in Charlotte's vocabulary section, where Charlotte will break down those words and phrases, explain their meaning, and show how to use them in real-life conversations.
So stick around. By the end of this episode, not only will you have practical steps to change your life, but you'll also have new English vocabulary to help you express your ideas even better.
You know, Aaron, thinking about what we just talked about, how life changes little by little, it makes me wonder why so many people struggle to make those changes in the first place.
That's a great question. Change sounds exciting, right? A fresh start, a new beginning. But here's the truth. Most people never actually make those changes. Why? Because change is hard. Let's talk about the common reasons people feel stuck.
Yeah. First, there is fear of failure. Many people ask, what if I try and fail? But what if you try and succeed? Every successful person has failed along the way. The difference is, they kept going.
Exactly. The second reason is lack of direction. Some people know they want a better life but don't know where to start. They think they need a perfect plan before taking action.
And then there's negative self-talk, saying things like, I'll never be good at this, or I'm just not a language person. These thoughts stop progress before it even begins.
Finally, one of the biggest traps, waiting for motivation. People say, I'll start when I feel ready. But here's a secret. Motivation comes after action, not before.
That reminds me of when I struggled with a personal challenge. I kept waiting for the perfect moment to start. But that moment never came, until I just took the first step. And once I did, everything started falling into place.
That's a great point. And I remember feeling the same when I was learning English. At first, I thought, I'm not good at this. But then I realized the only way to get better was to actually start practicing.
Exactly, and that brings us to our key lesson. Understanding what's holding you back is the first step to changing your life. Once you recognize these barriers, you can start working on breaking them down.
So, Evan, Now that we understand what holds people back, the next big question is, how do we actually start making those changes?
That's where small daily improvements come in. People often think they need a dramatic transformation overnight, but real change happens gradually. Have you heard of the 1% rule?
Yes. If you improve just 1% every day, you'll be 37 times better in a year. That's because small efforts compound over time, just like interest in a bank account.
Exactly. And that ties into the power of habits. James Clear talks about this in Atomic Habits, how habits shape our identity. Small changes may not seem big at first, but they redefine who you are over time.
Right. Like reading just 10 minutes a day, practicing English for 5 minutes daily, or even replacing negative thoughts with positive affirmations.
And I love real-life examples. I know someone who became fluent in English just by listening to podcasts every day. They didn't start with an intense study plan, just consistent small steps.
That's so inspiring. The takeaway here is, small consistent actions lead to big results over time. So if you're listening and wondering where to start, just pick one small habit today.
Exactly. And you know, Aaron, while taking action is important, there's something even more fundamental, our mindset. Because let's be honest, how we think about change makes all the difference.
Absolutely. There's something called the growth mindset versus fixed mindset. If you have a growth mindset, you believe I can improve. But if you have a fixed mindset, you think, I'll never be good at this.
That's a huge difference. And another thing, our brain is wired to focus on what we train it to notice. Have you heard of the reticular activating system?
Yes, it's why when you learn a new word, you suddenly hear it everywhere. Your brain filters information based on what you focus on.
So if you keep telling yourself, I can't do this, your brain will find evidence to prove it. But if you say, I am improving every day, your brain will focus on that progress instead.
That's why reprogramming your mind is so powerful. 3 great ways to do that are affirmations, visualization, and gratitude.
Right. Positive self-talk like, I am getting better every day, helps reshape our thoughts. Visualization, seeing yourself succeed, tricks your brain into believing it's possible.
And don't forget gratitude practice. When you focus on what's going well, you train your brain to see opportunities instead of obstacles.
That's the power of mindset. It's not magic. It's about training your brain to work for you, not against you.
So true. Now that we've talked about the power of mindset, there's something else that holds people back, waiting for the right moment to start.
Yes, so many people believe that they need to be completely ready before they take action. But here's the truth. You will never feel fully ready.
Exactly. Progress comes before confidence. When I was learning English, I hesitated to start speaking because I felt like I wasn't ready. I kept thinking, what if I make mistakes? But the more I waited, the harder it became.
That's so relatable. But when you finally took that first step, what happened?
Well, once I started speaking, I realized that making mistakes was part of the learning process. Each conversation, even with errors, built my confidence. I wasn't perfect, but I was improving.
And that's the key. There's a concept I love. Done is better than perfect. Too many people delay action because they want everything to be just right. But in reality, imperfect action is always better than no action.
Right. If you wait for perfection, you'll never get started. Whether it's learning English, starting a new habit, or making a big life change, just begin. Small steps will lead to big improvements over time.
So here's a quick challenge for you, our listeners. Think of one thing you've been postponing. It could be practicing English, starting a workout routine, or even reaching out to someone for help.
And then, just take one small step today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. Because action leads to momentum, and momentum leads to confidence.
That's right. Small, consistent actions over time create massive change. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Make today the day you start.
Speaking of taking action, have you ever noticed how much our surroundings shape our habits and decisions? It's not just about what we do, but who and what we surround ourselves with.
Absolutely. The people you surround yourself with, the content you consume, and the mindset you adopt all play a huge role in shaping your life.
Yes. There's a famous saying, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." If you're surrounded by negative, unmotivated people, it's hard to stay motivated. But if you're around positive, goal-driven individuals, their energy and habits will rub off on you.
That's so true. So, how can we create an environment that supports growth? First, start by following inspirational people. Whether it's authors, speakers, or even social media accounts, exposing yourself to positive influences will shift your mindset over time.
Absolutely. And joining online learning communities is another great way to stay motivated. There are so many groups out there for English learners, book clubs, and personal development. When you're part of a community that values growth, you naturally start improving too.
And just as important as adding positive influences is reducing exposure to negativity. That could mean limiting time spent with people who constantly complain, or even cutting down on negative news and social media that drain your energy.
That reminds me of when I was learning English. I felt stuck until I joined an English learning community. Suddenly, I had people to practice with, share struggles, and celebrate progress. That made all the difference.
That's such a great example. The right environment creates momentum, making it easier to grow and stay on track.
So, here's something to think about. Who are the 5 people you spend the most time with? Are they helping you grow, or are they holding you back?
If they're not pushing you to be better, it might be time to make some adjustments. Surround yourself with people and influences that inspire and uplift you.
And speaking of inspiration, sometimes learning new words and phrases can help us articulate our goals and mindset even better. That's why we have Charlotte here to break down some key vocabulary from today's discussion.
Absolutely. Take it away, Charlotte.
Hello, English learners. It's time for Charlotte's vocabulary breakdown. In today's episode, Erin and Evan introduced some great concepts about change, mindset, and environment. Let's take a closer look at some key vocabulary and how to use them in real-life conversations. Transformation. Meaning, a big change in something. Example, after years of hard work, Maria experienced a complete transformation in her career, going from an intern to a company director. Mindset. Meaning, the way you think about things. Example, Jake changed his mindset about exercise and now he enjoys working out every morning. Surroundings. Meaning, the things and people around you. Example, Anna moved to a peaceful countryside home because she wanted more positive surroundings. Momentum. Meaning, the force that keeps something moving. Example, once Daniel started writing 500 words a day, he built momentum and finished his book in just 3 months. Exposure. Meaning, the amount of contact you have with something. Example, watching English movies increased Sarah's exposure to native speech, improving her listening skills. Growth-driven. Meaning, focused on improvement. Example, Leo joined a growth-driven study group that encouraged him to keep learning and setting new goals. Visualization. Meaning, the formation of a mental image of something, often used to enhance motivation, confidence, and performance. Example, every night Mark visualizes himself speaking confidently before his presentations. Affirmation. Meaning, a positive statement to encourage yourself. Example, Jane starts her day with the affirmation, "I am capable and strong." Community. Meaning, a group of people with shared interests. Example: David found an amazing community of runners who motivated him to complete his first marathon. Accountable, meaning responsibility for your own progress. Example: Mia set weekly goals for herself and tracked her progress to stay accountable in her fitness journey. That's it for today's vocabulary breakdown. Back to you, Aaron and Evan.
Thank you, Charlotte. Those were some really useful words and phrases. So, Evan, if we had to leave our listeners with one key takeaway from today's episode, what would it be?
I'd say it's this. You have more control over your life than you think. Small changes, the right mindset, and a strong environment can completely transform your life.
That's so true. And remember, progress doesn't happen overnight, but every step you take gets you closer to where you want to be.
And don't forget to grab our free PDF guide for today's episode. It's packed with practical exercises and vocabulary to help you reinforce what you've learned.
Also, let us know in the comments. What's one small change you're making today? We'd love to hear from you.
And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave us a review. Let's keep growing together.
See you next time on the English Leap podcast.
Your progress doesn't end here. To continue advancing your English skills, click on the next video or explore the additional videos we've thoughtfully selected for you.